The next morning, Maya woke before dawn. She lay in bed for a while, listening to Zira's quiet breathing. Her roommate was having bad dreams again, probably about her sick grandmother back home. Maya got up quietly and went through her morning routine. She washed, dressed, and packed her books for the day. Everything was the same as always, but something felt different. The air seemed thicker, like the moments before a storm. She left early for breakfast, as she always did. The dining hall was nearly empty except for a few early students and the kitchen staff. Maya got her food and sat at her corner table. She ate slowly and read her chemistry book, the one Crix had returned after she passed the quiz without it. The pages were still stained from when he had thrown it in her food weeks ago. Maya had kept it that way as a reminder. Other students began arriving for breakfast, the hall filled with the usual sounds of conversation and eating. Maya did not look up from her book, but she was aware of everything happening around her. Heavy footsteps approached her table. Maya smelled the familiar scent of warm fur and predator musk. She did not look up. "Good morning, little human," Crix said. He sounded confident and pleased with himself. Maya turned a page in her book. She was reading about molecular bonds and how much pressure it took to break them. "I have been thinking about our conversation yesterday," Crix continued. He pulled out the chair across from Maya and sat down without being invited. His 3 friends stood behind him. Maya continued reading. The book explained that some bonds looked strong but would break easily with the right amount of force applied to the right place. "I have decided to be generous," Crix said. "I will give you one more chance to do this the easy way." Maya reached the bottom of the page and turned to the next one. This section was about pressure points in crystalline structures. "Very interesting." Crix leaned across the table. "Are you listening to me, human?" Maya looked up from her book for the first time. She met Crix's yellow eyes with her calm brown ones. "Yes," she said quietly. "I am listening." Crix smiled his sharp smile. "Good. I want you to stand up and announce to everyone in this room that humans are weak and cowardly. I want you to apologize for taking up space that should belong to a real warrior species." Maya closed her book carefully and set it aside. She folded her hands on the table and looked at Crix. "And if I do this," Maya said, "you will leave me alone?" "I told you yesterday," Crix said. "Maybe I will, and maybe I will not. That depends on how entertaining you are." Maya nodded slowly. "I see." The dining hall was getting crowded now. Students from all species filled the tables, and the noise level was rising. But around Maya's table, a bubble of quiet attention was forming. Other students sensed that something important was about to happen. "Well?" Crix demanded. "What is your answer?" Maya looked around the dining hall. She saw Zira at a table with other Zephyrian students watching with worried purple eyes. She saw Granite the Thornak and Kalextor the Keth from her combat training class. She saw Commander Thaksik having breakfast with other faculty members. All of them were watching her now. Maya stood up slowly. Crix's smile widened, thinking he had finally won. "My answer," Maya said in a voice loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "is no." Crix's smile disappeared. "What did you say?" "I said, no," Maya repeated. She was still standing, but she had not moved away from her chair. "I will not apologize for existing. I will not pretend to be weak to make you feel strong." The dining Hall was getting quieter as more students turned to watch the confrontation. Crick stood up as well, towering over Maya. "Then you have chosen the hard way," Crick said. His voice carried clearly through the increasingly silent hall. Maya looked up at him without fear. "Have I?" Crix reached across the table and grabbed Maya's wrist. His claws pressed against her skin, not quite breaking it, but promising to. "You are going to regret this, little human," Crix said. "I am going to make you understand your place." Maya looked down at his hand on her wrist, then back up at his face. "Are you finished?" she asked quietly. The question seemed to confuse Crix. "What? Are you finished talking?" Maya said. Her voice was calm and conversational, as if she were asking about the weather. Crix's grip tightened on her wrist. "I am just getting started." "Good to know," Maya said. She moved. It happened so fast that most students missed it entirely. Maya's free hand came up and struck Crix's elbow, causing him to release her wrist reflexively. At the same moment, her other hand moved in a precise arc, striking Crix in the neck with surgical accuracy. The movement was so quick and efficient that it looked almost casual. Maya never left her position beside her chair. She simply reached out, touched Crix's neck, and sat back down. Crix stood frozen for a moment, his eyes wide with surprise. Then he collapsed. His body hit the floor with a heavy thud that echoed. Through the now silent dining hall, Maya calmly picked up her book and opened it to where she had been reading. She took a bite of her breakfast, as if nothing had happened. It took several seconds for anyone to react. Then one of Crix's friends screamed. Students jumped up from their tables. Someone shouted for medical help. Commander Tashik reached the scene first. He knelt beside Crix and checked for vital signs. His compound eyes looked up at Maya, who was still sitting at her table reading. "What did you do?" the commander asked. Maya looked up from her book. "He grabbed my wrist without permission. I defended myself. He is dead," Commander Thaksik said flatly. Maya nodded. "Yes, he is. Station security arrived within minutes. They surrounded Maya's table with weapons drawn, but she made no attempt to run or fight. She simply closed her book and placed her hands flat on the table where they could see them. "Maya Collins," the security chief said, "you are under arrest for the murder of Crix Valdorian." "I understand," Maya said calmly. As they placed restraints on her wrists, Maya looked around the dining hall. Every student was staring at her with a mixture of fear and awe. She had killed Crix so quickly and quietly that it seemed impossible. Zira pushed through the crowd, tears streaming down her blue face. "Maya, why? Why did you do it?" Maya looked at her friend with sad but peaceful eyes. "Because he would never have stopped Zira, and I got tired of pretending to be harmless." They led Maya away to the station's detention center. Behind her, medical teams worked over Crix's body, but everyone knew it was too late. The young Valdorian was dead before he hit the floor. In the detention cell, Maya sat quietly on the small bed and waited. She knew there would be investigations and hearings and probably a trial. The Valdorian government would demand justice for their citizen. But Maya was not worried. She had done exactly what her father taught her to do. She had tried to avoid violence. She had given her enemy every chance to walk away. When he chose to escalate to physical force, she had responded with the minimum violence necessary to end the threat. On Earth, that was called self-defense. Captain Lisa Morgan, the human liaison, arrived an hour later. She looked tired and stressed. "Maya, she said, sitting across from her in the small interview room. "Do you understand what you have done?" "Yes," Maya said. "I defended myself from an attacker." "You killed him," Captain Morgan said, "with a single strike, without even standing up." Maya nodded. "He was threatening me and had grabbed me against my will. I used the minimum force necessary to stop the threat." Captain Morgan stared at her. "Minimum force? You broke his neck." "A broken neck stops the threat immediately," Maya explained patiently. "Other techniques might have only injured him, allowing the fight to continue. That would have risked more violence and more injury." "Maya," Captain Morgan said slowly, "where did you learn to kill so efficiently?" Maya looked at her hands, which were still steady despite everything that had happened. "On Earth. My father taught me that violence should be swift, decisive, and final. If you are going to hurt someone, you do it once and you do it completely. That way the violence ends. Quickly." Captain Morgan was quiet for a long moment. "Do you regret killing Crix?" Maya thought about the question carefully. "I regret that it was necessary. I would have preferred that he leave me alone. But I do not regret protecting myself." "What happens now?" Captain Morgan asked. Maya looked up at her with calm, dark eyes. "Now everyone knows what humans really are," she said quietly. "We are not the lucky survivors of a dangerous planet. We are the reason the planet was dangerous." Word of what happened spread through the station within hours. Students who had thought Maya was weak and cowardly now understood their mistake. She had not been afraid of Crix. She had been protecting him from herself. The other species began to see humans in a new light. Earth was not just a dangerous planet that happened to produce survivors. It was a world so deadly that it had bred the most efficient killers in the galaxy. Humans were not prey animals that got lucky. They were apex predators that had learned to hide their true nature. Maya sat in her cell and read her chemistry book while the galaxy tried to figure out what to do with her. Outside her window, she could see stars that reminded her of the night. Sky above her grandmother's house by the lake. She missed Earth, but she was not homesick anymore. Wherever she went, she would carry her father's lessons with her. Be patient, be kind, give everyone a chance to walk away, but never, ever let them. Mistake kindness for weakness, because sometimes the most dangerous predators are. 2 more weeks passed. Maya's routine continued the same as always, but Crix was getting bolder. He no longer pretended his actions were accidents. He would knock books out of Maya's hands in the hallway. He would cut in front of her in the food line. He would make loud comments about weak humans whenever she was nearby. Maya never responded. She would pick up her books, wait patiently in line, and ignore his comments. Her silence seemed to drive Crix crazy with frustration. Other students began to notice what was happening. Some felt sorry for Maya. Others thought she was a coward for not fighting back. A few wondered why the human girl never seemed bothered by anything Crix did. In the dining hall, conversations would stop when Maya entered. Everyone wanted to see what would happen between the quiet human and the aggressive Valdorian. It was becoming the most interesting thing on the station. Maya did not care about their stares or whispers. She ate her meals and read her books and attended her classes. She was learning a lot about different alien cultures and technologies. The knowledge would be useful when she returned to Earth. But Crix was not satisfied with small victories anymore. He wanted to see Maya break. He wanted her to cry or get angry or fight back. Her continued calmness was making him look weak in front of his friends. On a Thursday morning, Maya went to breakfast as usual. The dining hall was crowded with students, getting ready for their morning classes. Maya got her food and walked to her corner table. As she sat down, she noticed that her usual book was missing from her bag. She looked around and saw Crix at his table, holding her chemistry textbook. He waved it at her and smiled his sharp smile. Maya opened her notebook instead and began reviewing her notes while she ate. She could hear Crix talking loudly to his friends about the book he had found. After breakfast, Maya went to chemistry class. The professor announced that they would be having a quiz on the previous week's material. Students who did not have their textbooks would not be allowed to use them during the quiz anyway, so Maya was not worried. She took the quiz from memory and answered all the questions correctly. When she turned it in, the professor looked surprised. "Very good work, Miss Collins," he said, "especially without your textbook to reference." Crix overheard this from his seat. His ears flattened against his head in anger. His plan to make Maya fail. The quiz had not worked. That afternoon in combat training, Commander Thaxik announced that they would be practicing with partners in live sparring matches. Each student would fight 3 different opponents to test their skills against different species. "Remember," the commander said, "this is practice. You will stop when I say stop. Anyone who continues fighting after I call a halt will be removed from the class." Maya was paired first with a Thornac student named Granite. He was twice her size and made of living rock, but he moved slowly. Maya used her speed to stay away from his powerful hands. When the commander called time, neither fighter had scored a clear victory. "Good match," Granite rumbled in his deep voice. "You are faster than you look, little human." "Thank you," Maya said. "You are stronger than I expected." Her second match was against a Keth warrior named Klelextor. The insectoid fighter had 4 arms and could attack from multiple angles at once. Maya had to be very careful to block all his strikes while looking for openings to counterattack. The match was intense, but respectful. When time was called, both fighters bowed to each other in the traditional Keth manner. Maya's third match was against Crix. The moment they stepped onto the mat together, the atmosphere in the room changed. Every other student stopped what they were doing to watch. This was the fight everyone had been waiting for. "Finally," Crix said, showing his teeth. "Let us see what a Deathworlder can really do." Maya said nothing. She took her fighting stance and waited for the commander to start the match. "Begin," Commander Thaxik called. Crix immediately attacked with his full strength. He was faster and more aggressive than Maya had seen him before. His claws swiped at her face and body, trying to overwhelm her with pure violence. Maya moved like water, flowing around his attacks without fighting back. She dodged and blocked and stepped aside, but she never struck at him. This was still practice, and she did not want to hurt him. "Fight back, coward!" Crix snarled, growing frustrated. Maya continued to defend herself without attacking. She could see openings where she could hurt Crix, but she did not take them. The other students began to murmur. Some thought Maya was afraid. Others wondered why she was not using the techniques they had seen her practice. Crix became more and more angry. He started using moves that were not allowed in practice. His claws came too close to Maya's eyes. His kicks aimed for joints that could be seriously injured. "Enough!" Commander Thaxik called. "The match is over!" But Crix did not stop. He lunged at Maya with his claws extended, aiming for her throat. Maya caught his wrist in midair and twisted it gently but firmly. Crix found himself frozen in place, unable to move without breaking his own arm. The commander said, "Stop," Maya said quietly. She released Crix's wrist and stepped back. Crix stumbled and nearly fell. Commander Thaxic clicked his mandibles in disapproval. "Crix, you continued fighting after I called a halt. That is unacceptable behavior." "She provoked me," Crix protested. "She was not even trying to fight." "That shows discipline and control," the commander said. "Qualities you should learn." After class, Crix cornered Maya in the hallway. His friends surrounded her so she could not walk away. "You made me look like a fool in there," Crix said angrily. "You did that yourself," Maya replied calmly. Crix's hand shot out and grabbed Maya's shoulder. His claws dug into her uniform but did not break the skin. "I am talking to you, human," he growled. Maya looked down at his hand on her shoulder, then up at his face. "I am listening." "You think you are so clever," Crix said, acting all calm and mysterious, "but I know what you really are." "What am I?" Maya asked. "You are a scared little animal," Crix said, "pretending to be brave because you know the teachers will protect you." Maya nodded thoughtfully. "Maybe you are right." This answer surprised Crix again. He had expected her to deny it or get angry. "I know I am right," he said, tightening his grip on her shoulder. "And soon everyone else will know it too." Maya looked around at Crix's friends. They were all watching eagerly, waiting to see her finally break down. "What do you want from me?" "Crix?" Maya asked. "I want you to admit what you are," Crix said. "I want you to get down on your knees and tell everyone that humans are weak and pathetic." Maya considered this for a moment. "And if I do that, you will leave me alone?" "Maybe," Crix said with a cruel smile. "Or maybe I will just think of new ways to humiliate you." Maya nodded slowly. "I see." She looked at each of Crix's friends, then back at Crix himself. Something in her expression made him slightly uncomfortable, though he could not say why. "I understand now," Maya said quietly. "Thank you for explaining." Crix released her shoulder, confused by her response. "What do you understand?" Maya straightened her uniform where his claws had wrinkled it. "I understand that you will never stop," she said. "No matter what I do or do not do, you will keep pushing until something breaks." "That is right," Crix said, pleased that she finally seemed to get it. Maya smiled her small, cold smile. "Good. Now I know." She walked away, leaving Crix and his friends standing in the hallway. They watched her go, not sure if they had won or lost the encounter. That evening, Maya did not go to dinner. Instead, she went to the gymnasium and practiced her forms. She moved through the ancient patterns her father had taught her, each motion precise and deadly. Zira found her there an hour later. "You missed dinner," Zira said. "I brought you some food." Maya stopped practicing and accepted the meal gratefully. "Thank you. You are a good friend." "Are you all right?" Zira asked. "Some students said Crix confronted you after combat training." Maya ate a bite of food before answering. "Yes, he did." "What did he want?" Zira asked. Maya looked at her friend with calm, dark eyes. "He wanted to know what I am." "What did you tell him?" Zira asked nervously. Maya finished chewing and swallowed carefully. "I told him he was right. I am a scared little animal." Zira stared at her in shock. "But that is not true," Maya smiled sadly. "Is it not? I have been running away from Crix for weeks, hiding behind rules and teachers and politeness. You have been showing restraint," Zira protested. That takes strength. Maybe, Maya said. Or maybe I have just been afraid to show what I really am. Zira tried to read Maya's emotions, but all she found was a strange sense of resolution, as if Maya had finally made a decision about something important. Maya, Zira said carefully, what are you going to do? Maya looked at the food Zira had brought her. It was getting cold, but it still tasted good. Simple things like food and friendship seemed more precious when you knew they might not last. I am going to finish my dinner, Maya said. And then I am going to stop being afraid. Zira felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's air conditioning. What does that mean? Maya looked at her friend with eyes that seemed older than her 17 years. It means, Maya said quietly, that tomorrow Crix is going to find out what a real Deathworlder looks like. 3 weeks passed at the Galactic Academy station. Maya fell into a routine. She woke early, ate breakfast alone, attended classes, and studied in her room. Every day was the same, except for Crix. Crix found new ways to bother Maya. He would bump into her in the hallways and pretend it was an accident. He would take her seat in classes and make her find another one. He would stand too close to her in the food line and breathe on her neck. Maya never reacted. She simply moved around him like he was a piece of furniture. This made Crix angrier every day. In advanced chemistry class, they were learning to mix different compounds. The professor, a wise old Zephyrian, paired students to work together. Maya was paired with a quiet Thornac student named Brix. Brix was made of living rock and spoke very slowly. I am pleased to work with you, Maya Collins from Earth. Thank you, Brix, Maya said. I am pleased to work with you too. They were supposed to create a small reaction that would produce colored light. Maya measured the chemicals carefully while Brix held the containers steady with his strong hands. Crix worked at the station next to them. Maya could feel him watching her, but she focused on her work. She mixed the first 2 chemicals. They turned bright blue. Now add 3 drops of catalyst, Maya said to Brix. As Brix reached for the catalyst, Crix pretended to trip. He bumped into Brix's arm, causing him to pour too much catalyst into Maya's mixture. The reaction was immediate and violent. The mixture exploded in a flash of light and heat. Maya threw herself backward, away from the explosion. Hot chemicals splashed where she had been standing. The professor rushed over. What happened here? I am sorry, Brix said sadly. I poured too much catalyst. I am clumsy. Maya looked at Crix. He was pretending to help clean up the mess, but she could see him smiling. The explosion could have burned her badly or blinded her. Accidents happen, the professor said. Let us clean this up and start again, Maya said. Nothing about Crix bumping into Brix. She helped clean up the chemicals and started the experiment over. This time, she kept her body between Crix and her workstation. After class, Maya went to the library. She liked it there because it was quiet, and Crix rarely bothered her in front of the librarian. She found a table in the back and opened her homework. She had been working for an hour when she realized someone was watching her. She looked up and saw Crix standing between the tall shelves of books. He was not reading. He was just staring at her. Maya went back to her homework. When she looked up again, Crix was gone. That night, Maya returned to her room after dinner. She opened the door and saw that her desk had been disturbed. Her photos from Earth were scattered on the floor. Zira was at her own desk, looking upset. I am sorry, Maya. I tried to stop him, but he said he was looking for something he dropped. Maya picked up her photos. The one of her house by the lake was torn in half. The mountain photo had a boot print on it. The forest photo was missing. Did he take anything else? Maya asked calmly. I do not think so, Zira said. But he looked through your clothes and books. Maya checked her belongings. Nothing else was missing, but everything had been touched. Her clothes were wrinkled, her books were out of order. She sat on her bed and tried to tape the torn photo back together. The house by the lake had been her grandmother's house. Maya had lived there after her parents died. Now the photo was ruined. You should report this to station security, Zira said. What would I report? Maya asked. That someone moved my things around? He tore your picture, Zira said. Pictures can be torn by accident, Maya said. There is no proof that Crix did. Anything wrong? Zira watched Maya work on the photo. The human girl's hands were very steady, but Zira could sense something different about her emotions now. There was still calmness, but underneath it was something else. Something dangerous. The next day in combat training, Commander Thaksik taught them about pressure points. These were spots on the body where a small amount of force could cause great pain or disable an opponent. Different species have different pressure points, the commander explained. What works on a Valdorian will not work on a Thornak. Maya listened carefully and took notes. She already knew about human pressure points from her training on Earth, but alien anatomy was new to her. Crix was partnered with Maya for practice. This should be educational, he said with his sharp smile. The commander showed them a pressure point on the Valdorian neck. Apply gentle pressure here, he told Maya. Too much force can cause serious injury. Maya placed her finger on Crix's neck where the commander had shown her. Crix's eyes went wide with surprise. Maya's touch was very precise, and he could feel exactly how vulnerable he was in that moment. Good technique, the commander said. Now Crix will show Maya the corresponding pressure point on humans. Crix tried to find the right spot on Maya's neck, but his large hands were clumsy. He pressed too hard and in the wrong places. Gentler, the commander instructed. Precision is more important than strength. Maya stood perfectly still while Crix fumbled around her neck. She could have easily moved away or blocked him, but she let him continue his awkward attempts. Finally, the commander moved on to other students. Crix leaned close to Maya's ear. I know exactly where to hurt you now, little human, he whispered. Maya turned to look at him. Her face was calm as always, but her eyes seemed different, deeper and darker. Thank you for the lesson, she said quietly. That evening, Maya went to the gymnasium after dinner. She liked to exercise alone when other students were in their rooms doing homework. The gym was empty and quiet. Maya began with stretching exercises her father had taught her. Then she practiced the fighting forms she had learned on Earth. Her movements were smooth and controlled, like a deadly dance. She did not hear Crix enter the gym until he spoke. Very pretty dancing, he said mockingly. Is that how humans fight? Like dancers? Maya stopped moving but did not turn around. This is how I practice. Practice for what? Crix asked. There are no real enemies here, just students trying to learn. Maya turned to face him. Crix had brought 2 friends with him. They spread out to block the exits from the gym. You are right, Maya said. There are no enemies here. Then why do you practice fighting every day? Crix demanded. What are you preparing for? Maya looked at each of the 3 Valdorians. They were all bigger and stronger than her. In a fair fight, they would probably win. I practice because my father taught me to practice, Maya said. Every day, no matter what. Your father, Crix laughed. I bet he was a weakling, too. That is why he is not here to protect his little girl. Maya's expression did not change, but something shifted in the air around her. The temperature seemed to drop a few degrees. My father is dead, Maya said simply. How did he die? Crix asked cruelly. Did some real predator eat him? He died, protecting people, Maya said. From a forest fire that trapped a school bus full of children. Crix's smile faded slightly. Even he could hear the quiet pain in Maya's voice. He ran into the fire 6 times, Maya continued. He saved 18 children before the burning tree fell on him. The gym was silent except for the hum of air recyclers. That is why I practice, Maya said, because my father taught me that strength is not about hurting people. It is about protecting them. Crix looked uncomfortable now. His friends shifted, nervously behind him. Well, Crix said, trying to regain control of the situation. Your father is not here now, and neither is anyone else who can protect you. Maya nodded. You are right. There is no one here to protect me. She walked toward the exit. Crix's friends moved to block her path, but Crix held up his hand to stop them. Let her go, he said. Maya walked past them and out of the gym. Behind her, she could hear Crix talking to his friends in their own language. She did not understand the words, but she understood the tone. He was planning something. Back in her room, Maya found Zira crying at her desk. What is wrong? Maya asked. I got a message from home, Zira said. My grandmother is very sick. I want to go home, but the next transport does not leave for 3 months. Maya sat on her bed and looked at her damaged photos. She understood how Zira felt. Sometimes you could not go home when you needed to. I am sorry about your grandmother, Maya said. Thank you, Zira said. She wiped her eyes and looked at Maya. Can I ask you something? Of course. Are you afraid? Of Crix? Zira asked. Maya thought about the question for a long moment. No, she said finally. I am not afraid of Crix. Why not? Zira asked. He is much bigger than you, and he clearly wants to hurt you. Maya looked at the photo of the forest, the one that was not missing or torn. In the picture, sunlight filtered through tall trees onto a path that disappeared into shadows. On Earth, Maya said, there are many things that want to hurt you. Big cats with claws, bears with teeth, snakes with poison. Even the plants can be deadly. Zira listened carefully. But the most dangerous things, Maya continued, are not always the biggest or strongest. Sometimes the most dangerous things are very small, like spiders, or bacteria, or humans. I do not understand, Zira said. Maya smiled her small, cold smile. The biggest predators make the most noise. They roar and show their teeth and try to scare you. But the really dangerous ones stay quiet until it is time to strike. Zira felt a chill run through her telepathic senses. For just a moment she glimpsed something in Maya's mind that made her afraid. Not afraid of Maya. The next morning, Maya went to breakfast early. She liked the quiet time before other students woke up. The dining hall was almost empty. Maya got her food and sat at the same corner table from the night before. She ate while reading a book about galactic history. The book was interesting but hard to understand. There were so many different species and planets to remember. Other students began arriving for breakfast. The hall slowly filled with voices and the sounds of eating. Maya did not look up from her book. Heavy footsteps approached her table. Maya smelled a scent like warm fur and hunting cat. She knew who it was without looking. "Good morning, little human," Crix said. He stood next to her table with 3 other Valdorian students behind him. Maya turned a page in her book. She did not look up. "I am talking to you," Crix said, his voice getting louder. Maya continued reading. The page was about trade routes between star systems. It was much more interesting than Crix. Crix reached down and closed Maya's book with his large hand. "When someone talks to you, you should answer." Maya looked up at him. Her face was calm and showed no emotion. "Good morning, Crix." "That is better," Crix said with a sharp smile. "I have been thinking about what you said last night, about humans being lucky to survive." "I said maybe." Maya corrected him quietly. "Right, maybe," Crix said. He picked up Maya's book and looked at it. "Galactic history. Are you trying to learn about real civilizations?" "I am trying to learn," Maya said. Crix flipped through the pages of her book. "This is very advanced reading for a primitive species, maybe too advanced." He held the book high above his head, far out of Maya's reach. "I think you should start with something easier, like picture books for children." Maya looked at the book in his hand, then back at her breakfast. She picked up her spoon and continued eating. "Do you not want your book back?" Crix asked, surprised. "We'll get it back when you are finished with it," Maya said. Crix's friends laughed, but not in a happy way. They thought Maya was being disrespectful. "Maybe I will keep it," Crix said. "Humans probably cannot read anyway." Maya ate another spoonful of her breakfast. "If you say so." Crix stared at her for a long moment. He had never met anyone who reacted this way to his bullying. Most students got angry or scared. The human girl just seemed bored. "Fine," Crix said. He threw the book down on Maya's table. It landed in her breakfast, splashing food everywhere. Maya looked at her book, now covered in food. She picked it up and wiped it clean with her napkin. The pages were stained, but still readable. "Oops," Crix said with fake concern. "I am so clumsy." Maya opened the book to where she had been reading. Food dripped from the pages, but she continued as if nothing had happened. Crix's ears flattened against his head. This was a sign of anger in Valdorians. "You are very strange, human." "Thank you," Maya said. After breakfast, Maya went to her first class. It was basic physics, taught by a professor who looked like a giant spider. The classroom had students from many different species. Maya sat in the back row and took out her notebook. She wrote down everything the professor said, even though some of it was hard to understand. Crix entered the classroom late. He looked around and saw Maya in the back. He smiled his sharp smile and sat in the seat right behind her. During the lesson, Crix did small things to annoy Maya. He kicked the back of her chair. He dropped things that made noise. He whispered comments about stupid humans. Maya did not turn around or react. She kept taking notes and listening to the professor. This made Crix even more frustrated. After class, Maya packed her things slowly. Crix waited for her by the door with his friends. "How did you like the class, human?" Crix asked as Maya approached. "It was educational," Maya said. "I bet you did not understand any of it," one of Crix's friends said. "Physics is too complicated for primitive minds." Maya walked past them without answering. Crix stepped in front of her, blocking her path. "We are talking to you," Crix said. Maya looked up at him. "I need to get to my next class." "What class?" Crix asked. "Combat training," Maya said. Crix's friends looked surprised. Combat training was usually only for military students or those from warrior cultures. Combat training? Crix laughed. What can a tiny human learn about fighting? I do not know yet, Maya said. That is why I am taking the class. Crix moved aside, still laughing. This should be funny to watch. The combat training room was large and had soft mats on the floor. About 20 students were there, mostly from species known for fighting. There were several Thornacs, some Valdorians, and a few others Maya did not recognize. The instructor was a scarred Keth warrior named Commander Thesik. He looked at Maya with his compound eyes. You are the human, he said. It was not a question. Yes, sir, Maya said. Have you had combat training before? Commander Thesik asked. Some, Maya said. Show me, the commander said. Maya walked to the center of the mat. Commander Thesik selected a practice dummy and placed it in front of her. The dummy was made to look like a generic humanoid opponent. Attack it, the commander said. Maya looked at the dummy for a moment. Then she moved. Her strike was fast and precise. She hit the dummy in 3 places so quickly that it looked like one motion. The dummy rocked back and forth. The room was quiet. The other students had expected the human to be slow and clumsy. Instead, she had moved like a trained fighter. Interesting, Commander Thesik said. Where did you learn to fight? Earth, Maya said simply. Of course, the commander said. Deathworld training. For the rest of the class, they practiced basic techniques. Maya followed along quietly. She was not the strongest or fastest student, but her movements were always precise and controlled. Crix was also in the class. He watched Maya carefully, trying to understand how she could fight so well. When they practiced together, he tried to overpower her with his size and strength. Maya simply moved out of his way and let him stumble past her. She never tried to hurt him, but she never let him hurt her either. After class, Crix cornered Maya in the hallway. You are not as weak as you look, he admitted. Thank you, Maya said. But fighting a practice dummy is not the same as real combat, Crix continued. On my planet, warriors prove themselves in real battles. Maya nodded. That makes sense. Maybe someday you will have a chance to prove yourself, Crix said. His yellow eyes gleamed with a dangerous light. Maya looked at him calmly. Maybe. That evening at dinner, Maya sat at her usual table. Crix and his friends sat nearby, talking loudly about their homeworld and their fighting abilities. Maya ate quietly and read her stained book. Other students began to notice the tension between Maya and Crix. Some thought it was funny that the big Valdorian was bothering the small human. Others wondered why Maya never fought back. Maya did not care what they thought. She finished her dinner and returned to her room. Zira was there working on homework. How are your classes? Zira asked. Good, Maya said. I heard you are taking combat training, Zira said. That is unusual for new students. Maya sat on her bed and looked at her photos from Earth. I wanted to learn new techniques. Crix is in that class too, Zira said carefully. Yes, Maya said. He is very strong, Zira warned, and he does not like to lose. Maya looked at the photo of the forest. I understand. Zira tried to read Maya's emotions with her telepathic abilities, but she found only calmness. It was strange and a little frightening. Most people had stronger emotions, especially when they were being bullied. Maya, Zira said softly, if Crix tries to hurt you, you should report him to the teachers. Maya looked at her roommate. Thank you for caring about me, Zira, but I can handle Crix. How? Zira asked. Maya smiled for the first time since arriving at the station. It was a small smile, but there was something in it that made Zira feel cold. "I will wait," Maya said simply. Maya Collins stepped off the transport ship and into the Galactic Academy station. The metal floor felt cold under her boots. She carried one small bag with everything she owned. The station was huge, bigger than any building she had ever seen on Earth. Other students moved through the halls around her. They looked nothing like humans. Some had blue skin and were very tall. Others looked like giant insects with hard shells. A few had fur and moved like cats. Some were made of what looked like living rock. Maya walked slowly through the entrance hall. Her steps made no sound. She had learned to move quietly on Earth. It kept her alive in the forests back home. Here, it just made the other students stare at her more. A Zephyrian student with bright blue skin whispered to his friend. Maya could not hear the words, but she knew they were talking about her. Everyone always talked about the human girl from the Deathworld. The station guide, a friendly robot, led Maya to her room. Along the way, they passed the dining hall. Through the large windows, Maya could see hundreds of students eating together. They sat in groups by species. The blue ones sat with other blue ones. The cat-like ones sat together. The rock people had their own section. "Where do humans sit?" Maya asked the robot. "Humans sit wherever they choose," the robot said. "You are the first human student here?" Maya nodded. She had expected this. Earth had only joined the Galactic Federation 5 years ago. Most aliens still did not trust humans. They thought Earth people were too violent and unpredictable. Her room was small but clean. She shared it with a young Zephyrian girl named Zira. Zira had pale blue skin and large purple eyes. When Maya entered, Zira looked up from her study tablet. "Hello," Zira said carefully. "I am Zira. You must be the human." "My name is Maya," she replied. She set her bag on the empty bed. Zira watched as Maya unpacked. Maya had very few things: some clothes, a few books, and 3 photographs from Earth. One showed a forest. Another showed a mountain. The third showed a small house by a lake. "Is that your home planet?" Zira asked, pointing at the pictures. "Yes," Maya said. She placed the photos on her small desk. "It looks dangerous," Zira said. "All those trees and wild places." Maya looked at the forest picture. "It can be dangerous, but it is also beautiful." That evening, Maya went to the dining hall for dinner. She took a tray and got her food from the serving machines. The food was different from Earth food, but it smelled good. Maya looked around the hall. Every table was full of students talking and laughing. She saw an empty table in the corner and walked toward it. As she moved through the hall, conversations stopped. Students turned to watch her. She sat down at the empty table and began to eat. The food tasted better than it looked. Maya ate slowly and quietly. She was used to eating alone. A group of Valdorian students sat at the next table. They looked like large cats that walked on 2 legs. They had golden fur and sharp teeth. Maya could hear them talking about her. "Look at how small she is," one of them said. "How did something so weak survive a death world?" "Maybe humans just hide all the time," another one said, "like scared animals." Maya continued eating. She did not look at them or react to their words. On Earth, her father had taught her that predators often tested you before attacking. The best thing to do was show no fear and no aggression. More students began to notice her. A group of Keth students clicked their mandibles together. This was how they laughed. Some Thornac students, who looked like walking boulders, rumbled deep in their chests. Maya knew they were making jokes about her. She finished her meal and stood up. As she walked toward the exit, she passed the Valdorian table. One of them, larger than the others, stood up as she approached. "Wait," he said. "You are the human, right?" Maya stopped walking but did not turn around. "Yes, I am Crix," the Valdorian said. "My father is a general in the Valdorian military. He has fought many battles." Maya turned to face him. Crix was much taller than her and had muscles under his golden fur. His eyes were yellow and looked hungry. "That is nice," Maya said quietly. Crix seemed surprised by her calm response. He had expected fear or anger. "Do you know what a general is, human?" "Yes," Maya said. "A military leader." "That is right," Crix said, smiling to show his sharp teeth. "My father says humans are just lucky to be alive. He says you survived your planet by accident." Maya looked at Crix for a long moment. Her face showed no emotion. "Maybe," she said. This answer confused Crix even more. He had wanted to make her angry or scared. Instead, she seemed completely uninterested. "We will see how tough Deathworlders really are," Crix said. Maya nodded once and walked away. Behind her, she could hear Crix talking loudly to his friends about the strange human girl. Back in her room, Maya sat on her bed and looked at her photos from Earth. Zira was at her desk doing homework. "How was dinner?" Zira asked. "Fine," Maya said. "I heard some students talking about you," Zira said carefully. Crix Valdorian was asking questions about humans. Maya nodded but said nothing. She had met bullies before. On Earth, there were always predators looking for easy prey. The key was not to look like easy prey. "Crix can be mean," Zira warned. "He likes to pick on smaller students." "Thank you for telling me," Maya said. That night, Maya lay in bed and listened to the sounds of the station. She could hear air moving through vents and machines humming. It was different from Earth, where nights were full of animal sounds and wind in the trees. Maya was not worried about Crix. She had survived worse things than a bully with sharp teeth. On Earth, everything wanted to kill you. Plants, animals, weather, even the ground could be dangerous. Humans learned to be careful and patient. Maya closed her eyes and went to sleep. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she was ready.